Welcome back to Your Darts. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so you're throwing the darts at the dartboard, okay? How hard is that? It's really hard, isn't it, to hit that 20 segment or even more, hit that treble 20 when we're scoring? Well, if you want to throw straight, I've got 10 tips that might help you. Please join me. Okay, so 10 tips to help you. Remember, these videos are really tailored for people who are just starting at the game, but also if you are going through a bad patch, a bad set of form, and you're not hitting that top of that board, you're not hitting the 20, you keep going into the 5 or the 1, maybe there's a few pearls here for you. So let's just jump in. So number 1, it all starts with the feet. Okay, so there's generally 2 schools of thought when we're standing up to the oche. The first one is standing side on. Now, some of the greatest players of all time, including Phil Taylor, he stood side on, so you can't diss it at all. But the fact of the matter is, if you'll find that you are having trouble hitting what you want and you are someone who stands side on, maybe think about changing that. Okay, so the advantages, yes, you get close to the dartboard, of course you do, which is always an advantage, but the disadvantages, it potentially can throw you offline. Because think about this, we're all tight at the front, aren't we? Our chests are tight because we're working all the time, we're doing everything in front of us, and our shoulders can slot forward. So if you are standing side on, not only do you have to externally, you have to rotate your upper body, and maybe you're rotating your shoulder almost at end of range, so you potentially can get shoulder impingements and shoulder problems like many dart players do. I'm not saying that's the only reason, but if we are tight, we can start to go offline. So if you're a right-hander, you'll be hitting a lot more 5s. You might find you do that, and if you're a left-hander, you might well hit a lot more of those single 1s. Okay, so potentially the other thing you can do, the other school of thought, is standing toes forward. All right, so this is what I've changed to do, and it opened up my game because it opened up my body. Okay, I didn't feel as tight. Now the advantages, yeah, it opens up your posture. Okay. Disadvantages, it's not as compact as that side on standing, okay, but at the same time I think it just offers you a little bit more. But look, I'm not saying either way is right or wrong, so try them both. It's just if you're in a sticking point and you're side on, or if you're forward and you find that you're too open and there's too many moving parts, try side on, see if that helps you. Okay, but another little tip is think about, so say however you're standing, okay, and you're like, for me, I'm a left-hander, so I'm always going into that 1 and the 18. Okay, I'm going that direction. So what I found I stood to the left a little bit. We're talking about the width of your foot. That's all it needs to be. Okay, you can try more if you want, but just stand a little bit to the left hand side. So that kind of negates that desire or that kind of intent that your body's throwing to your right. Okay, in this case, and if you're a right-hander, you'd step to if you find you hit a lot of 1s and 12s, a lot of 5s and 12s, stand a little bit to your right. Okay, so just step to the right or left of the midline. That's something you can try. Okay, so tip number 2, your throwing arm. All right, so be aware of your elbow height. This really did help me, okay, because all I'm doing is looking at my, for instance, treble 20 and just throwing. I'm not thinking about where my elbow is, okay, and this is what really helped me avoid being too low. Because if you can imagine, for instance, your throwing arc, just for instance, right, that's poor, but you get the idea. All right, if your elbow is low, then you're going to start to kind of like, you're aiming for it's not going to reach the target. If you find you drop below your target all the time, it could be because your elbow's too low. All right, I know that's a bit pathetic drawing, but so just think about, so start, this is tips, okay, tips to continue and have a practice with. Just start by lifting that elbow horizontal, okay, and practice for 10-15 minutes. See what that alone does for your game. All right, just keep it parallel to the floor. Okay, so keep it parallel to the floor. There we are now. Yep, a low, I've just already said that, a low elbow drags that throwing arc down. It really can do. Okay, things to try. Now this probably changed my accuracy. Try sticking out your elbow almost deliberately. So you go up to the board, you've got your feet however you want to have them, and you've got your elbow parallel, but almost like stick it outwards, as if you're trying to stick it out into the center of the board or into the dartboard, okay? And then throw your dart as you normally would, okay? See what happens there. All right. Look where your elbow is. Be aware of your mechanics of your throwing. In a perfect world, as long as it feels natural to try and have your elbow, say if it was a clock face, try and have it towards the 6 o'clock down here. Okay. Now sometimes our elbow, for me, I'm a left-hander, so my elbow can sometimes be here. I've trained it to come down more to 6 o'clock, and again, if you're right-handed, your elbow might be here. Now, if that works for you, that's great. But again, these are just video ideas for if you're struggling and you can't hit the. Just think about changing up your mechanics, right? All sport is good mechanics and good technique, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, think about that elbow height, keep it parallel, and really think about sticking that elbow out. That really helped me tremendously. Okay, have a go. Okay, tip number 3, your dart grip. Okay, very important, right? That's the one thing you're holding your dart in your hand. How are you going to do it? Well, there might be another video on different grips, and it's got to be obviously what's comfortable for you, but don't grip it too tight. That's the main thing I can say, because the more you're gripping it, because you've got to release that at the right time, and it's all about, I'll be talking later on about the throwing arc and the sweet spot, which I'll talk about in a moment. If you're gripping it too tight, you're going to release it too late. Okay, just think about that. So if you find you're gripping that dart, just experiment with different strengths. Just loosen it up a little bit. Okay. Remember, you've got that split second to release. Okay. Now, try to avoid resting your little finger on the end of your dart. Now, for a long time, I would always do that. I hold my dart on my thumb, and then my index and my ring finger kind of just gently balance it. All right, now there's loads of ways to, you might not do it like that, and don't worry if you don't, but for a long time I would just have my little finger on the very end of the tip, actually. But if you think about it, if you're not getting the right time and not releasing the dart, then that's just going to just drag your dart down, or left or right, okay? So if you're doing that, I'd advise trying not to do it. See if that helps you, okay? Like I said, there's no right or wrong. Everyone can have their own style, but these are just tips if you find you're struggling, okay? So things to try. Try holding your dart forward or backwards from where you normally hold it. This was a big change for me. So for a long time, I'd have my dart held somewhere not quite in the middle, just in front, like just in front of the middle. But then I literally started to hold it just a little bit further forward. Okay, of course you can try a little bit further back to what works for you, but if you haven't tried holding it in different areas, try it. There's different shapes of darts, there's different stems and flights. As you know, it's almost like such a minefield out there. What do you go with? So whatever you're using, just try. I think holding it closer to the end has helped me a lot more than holding it further back. But another great Phil Taylor used to hold his dart quite far back, I believe. Anyway, see if that helps you. Okay, it made a big difference to me, just moving forward 5 or 10 mil. That's all you've got to do. It sounds almost like insignificant, but boy, it makes a big difference for your accuracy when you're throwing. Okay, tip number 4, line of sight. Now this is massive. This is really important. For many years I didn't even know about this. I would just throw at the dartboard and try and aim, but you can be a bit more specific with your aiming. Now let's talk about the classic way to find your dominant eye. Okay, we all generally have a dominant eye. I think there's a small percentage of us who both eyes work as strong as each other or something like that, but generally we're either right eye sighted or left eye sighted. Okay, now I'm a left-hander and I'm right eye dominant. Okay, that's how I've been found. But if I use my right eye dominantly in the game of darts and rely on that as a sight, and I'll talk to you what I mean by that, then I miss my shots. So just stick with me, okay? So this is how officially, certainly one of the ways, I think there's a few ways to do it, but this is how I originally found my dominant eye. So either use this red dot, and if you're going to do that on this screen, just have it, stand 10, 12 foot away if you can, or just look to the end of the room, pick a plant pot or pick anything what's resting somewhere, and hold your finger out, okay? have it in the center of it, where you can see the finger in the center of the item that you're looking at, and close your right eye. If your finger moves, okay, moves away from the target, then you need that right eye to be able to see it, and that's your dominant eye. Okay, if you close your left eye and it doesn't move, then you know you don't really need your left eye, for this to find this out, because you're shutting your left eye and nothing's moving. So right now I'm pointing out. If I close my left eye, nothing moves, my finger stays pointed at the object. But if I close my right eye, it moves about 2 or 3 inches to the right of the object. Okay, so that's telling me my right eye is dominant. Okay, now that might help you. Okay, it might work for you, but it doesn't work for me. Now let me show you my way and how I do it. Okay, how I find my dominant eye. I go to a dartboard, okay, and I will close my left eye and open my right eye, which should be dominant, right? I've just found out my right eye is dominant, and I'm aiming for bullseye. Okay, and I line it up with the bullseye with my right eye, and I throw it, and I always land here or here. It's completely out. Okay, now I'll close my right eye and I open my left eye, and yes, you get what's coming. I might not hit around the bullseye, but I'm hitting close to it. Okay, which means for darts, for some reason, I'm not right eye dominant, I am left eye dominant. If anyone out there knows what's happening there, please let me know. But anyone out there, I just want you to realize, just because you've found out that you're right eye dominant or left eye dominant, it might not be the case for darts, because it isn't for me. Okay, so this is how I this is how I found out that I am left eye dominant. Okay, just what I've been through. So how I line that up, I'm obviously going to open both eyes, okay, and I'll kind of like move I'll just clean this up a moment, I'll be right back. Okay, so this is how so say you've found out that you're left eye dominant, or whichever eye you're dominant, okay, and you're getting it closer to the bullseye when you're throwing. All right, I'll just I'll move my arm, hold my dart up, move my arm left or right. Okay, you're moving it in either direction. Okay, until, imagine this picture down here. Okay, when you open both eyes and you're looking at the dartboard, but you've got your dart in front of you, you're not really focused on the dart, you're focused on the dartboard. In a way, I kind of see this is how I see it, and then the middle part here is where I want to aim it. Okay, and of course I'm kind of what I'll do is, because I know my left eye is dominant, okay, my left eye is dominant in darts, okay, I will just make sure I'm there. I'll just close my right eye and see, oh, where is it? And if I've lined this up right, okay, then I'm literally I keep my right eye shut, open my left eye, and I'm directly over where I want to hit. Okay, of course I don't throw with one eye, I keep them both open, but I might have butchered that, but I mean, that's how I find how to get my correct dart, how to get the dart in the right part for me, in the right line of sight. Okay, have a go with that, see if that let me know if that makes any sense. Okay, tip number 5, the throwing arc. Now, so when you release, it's all about timing. It really is, because if we'll get into things to try in a minute. So visualize the sweet spot. Oh, we talked about it now, are we? All right, okay, that's the picture I want. All right, so forgive this crude arc. So we've got a throwing arc. All right, now I know some people throw straighter on than like a proper arc, but there is still generally an arc going through the from your hand from the dart to the board. Let's face it. Now, if you throw too late, if you throw and you through too late, if you throw in here or here, of course your dart's you're gonna drag your dart. You're gonna drag it down. You're gonna drag it left or right. Okay, you're just gonna do that. Now there is something I like to call the sweet spot, and it's not it's not the instant you start to move your hand, but it's very close. It's almost, and this is going to be a bit woolly, but it's very close. Okay, and you have to practice that. So it's not the split second you move your hand, but it's very close to that. And there's a small little window of a sweet spot here. This is the sweet spot. All right, try and practice that. Because if you got the footing right and you got your strength thrown to the board right, and you release, this is all about timing, you release at your sweet spot, okay, and you get your timing right, you're going to hit what you want mostly, okay? Or maybe that's a sweeping statement, maybe you won't, but that might help you if you find that you keep dragging the dart left or right or down, okay, or up, to be fair. But I mean, if you are always going higher and higher than your target, then you're probably releasing far too soon. If you think about it, you're releasing far too soon, and it's launching it into outer space, okay? But anyway, that's pretty messy, but just think about that sweet spot, and that's what we're going to be focusing in on very shortly when I'm give you a little practice scenario. It's all about timing. Let's call that the sweet spot. Okay, so I've just seen that this is going past 15 minutes already, so I'm just going to cut it short and split this into two. I was planning on doing one video, but I rambled on probably. Okay, so look, if you've got anything out of this, if you appreciate my videos in any way, please consider subscribing if you haven't, or tickle that algorithm for me, okay, just so people can see these videos. I'll post this next part pretty soon. I hope you get something from it. Thanks so much for watching. Take care for now.